So for this setup, we wanted to show you the basic setup for a 5G miner and an indoor radio. If you were to have one or more indoor or outdoor radios, this basic setup requires just a indoor switch or a basic switch, and this one above it looks almost identical is PoE, but the difference there is it's providing power to the switch, and that would go out to all the radios. And you have to use a substantial size power unit to power this. This is, I think, 123 watt power supply, so it's not small and can power all of the radios and then some. But for this basic setup, the radio will need its own power supply, so you'll have to supply power to the radio itself and to its own port there. And you'll also have to supply power to the Bobber 500 unit, and that will be its own supply that comes in the box when you purchase a Bobber 500. So that will have its own power supply there. But if you're trying to power multiple radios in this scenario with a basic setup, what you want to do is have your Ethernet coming in from your main line to the home to your Bobber 500. And then from the Bobber 500, you want to send your E and B out to your basic switch. So in this case, we're going to plug it into the first port, and this will provide power, or this will provide Ethernet to the entire rest of the outports on the switch. So from there, we want to connect the first radio that we have now to the second port. So because we have the main internet coming in from the Bobber 500 E and B, this will now send data to all the rest of the ports, and in this case we're sending internet access to the first radio. And that's for a basic setup for 1 to 3 radios. If you were to do the advanced setup, it's basically the same, except for you don't need power anymore, so you can disconnect the power to your radio. And in this case, you would put the ENB into the first port of the PoE switch. So now it's sending data in, and it's only going one way. And then you're sending data and power out to the radio. So now this radio will turn on without a power supply. So you can see it coming on now. And now we have data and internet coming to the radio. And those are the two different setups that you can use. This one allows you the freedom to not have to have an extra plug for the radios that you might be setting up somewhere, maybe in a location where you can't find another outlet. And you can send, I think, up to 100 meters of Cat5 or Cat6, and that'll power your different radios that you have and send internet access to them at gigabit speeds. So those are the two different setups, and then I'll move into teardown.